All right, so we are live. Welcome to Safety Beyond Compliance. My name is Lucas. I am the host. This is a webinar in a podcast format, which is sponsored by Shield360. If you missed our previous podcast, I'll drop the link after this one, so you can watch it on YouTube. It was a very interesting conversation with Prakash Singhani, CEO and founder of Navatech. So today it's a great episode. I really hope you like it because we are going to talk about how companies are moving from blind to safe spots by using computer vision applied to safety. And I was looking about someone who could present this message, who can really add value to my audience. And I think I found the best person to explain all about it and its amazing applications. So let's go. Um, just a quick introduction about myself before I introduce my special guest. So, as I said, my name is Lucas. I'm based in London. I'm a chartered professional of health and safety with IOSH. I've been working with health and safety, environmental management, sustainability for almost 20 years, which is a lot of time. And recently, I started a company called Shield360, which is a strategic partner for safety digital transformation. As new technologies are emerging pretty much every day, it becomes critically important for companies and also safety professionals to understand all about this change and how to move from more legacy type of health and safety management to something more predictive, more, let's say, smarter and safer as well. So I started this podcast because I believe that it's important to raise awareness about this change. Everything is happening very fast, as I said. So safety professionals need to position themselves as someone who understands the change and someone who can drive the change. Otherwise, they will be left behind. In regards to companies, they also need to use these amazing tools because going forward, everything will be pretty much driven by AI. Industry 4.0 is also a key factor to be taken into consideration. So this podcast is pretty much my way of bringing this topic to the mainstream so we can talk about it, and most important, we can all learn about it with experts. Um, Having said that, I would like to introduce the special guest of today's podcast. His name is Subhash Sharma. He is the founder and CEO of HawkVision AI, a company based here in the UK. Um, well, I can talk a lot about you, Subhash, because I really went through your resume online. So I think that you had an amazing career as an entrepreneur. You started business before you exited, and then now you are building an amazing company to address a very timing problem. But I think you can introduce yourself much better than me. So please welcome to the show, and let's go.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucas. Hello, everyone. I'm Subhash. Uh, I'm based in Reading in the UK. I've been working in software IT industry for the last 25 years here in the UK. Um, last 6 years, I've been working very focused on computer vision and artificial intelligence. Uh, I've been working to take the technology and apply it in real world. Uh, in my previous venture, I was very successful in applying that technology to various problems. And one of the problems that we addressed was health and safety. That company was very successful. Uh, it got acquired subsequently. And then I chose to, with my experience and know how, and especially in the health and safety area, I decided to set up HawkVision AI along with Jim Shields, uh, my colleague in the last venture and my business partner for the last 15 years. Uh, and what we are really doing is trying to do something very, very meaningful, trying to transform workplace safety using artificial intelligence and uh, computer vision. We're driven by a big purpose. Uh, so it's more than a tech product. Uh, it's a big purpose for us to really make a difference to many people's life, because if we can significantly transform workplace safety and reduce the incidents. To me, that is the biggest win and biggest satisfaction. So we're very much driven. We have a great team, uh, and we have just built a product. We're now getting the product out into our customers, and I'm very pleased to be here, Lucas. Thank you for having me on board, and it's lovely talking to you. And I would welcome any questions from the audience, and happy to answer any of those.
Amazing. Well, thanks you for accepting my invitation. I still remember, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, we
Yep.
met on LinkedIn, and since then we are catching up. You are keeping me informed about the developments of the products. And very soon you are going to have the launch of your products. And I believe that is going to be really revolutionary in the space of health and safety management, using AI and computer vision to address a problem which is the number of events, the number of deviations that are not being accounted, and they become near misses, they become instant, and in some cases, unfortunately, they become severe injuries and fatalities. So, Subhash, I have a question. I would like to start by asking you, what was the defining moments in your career that made you really think about, okay, so I was very successful with this venture, and now I want to do something to address a problem in the health and safety space. So what was the defining moment or your main motivation to do so?
Uh, so when I've been working in computer vision and artificial intelligence for the last 6 years. We were trying to solve various problems in the industry, and one of the problems that I came across was uh, solving, or how do I transform, or how do I improve workplace safety? And the biggest challenge that today exists in the health and safety area, and it's come a long way uh, in the last 100 years, but accidents continue to happen. We still have quite a few accidents and fatalities, too many. Uh, any number is too many, and I think there is significant scope that we could apply this technology to make that difference. Once we tested the technology on this area, I am convinced that we can significantly reduce, to an extent, about 80 to 90% of these incidents, and that's significant. Uh, and that really motivates, because each accident that we prevent, for me, that is a personal achievement, um,
Absolutely. I
and that
couldn't agree.
drives me. So that's really drives me. That excites us, and that has become the purpose of our business.
Amazing. I totally agree with you about this personal mission you have, and turning this into a business is something very, very powerful. So you mentioned about your targets, about your products potentially being a tool to prevent up to 80 to 90% of incidents in the industrial environment. So please elaborate a bit more about the problem you want to solve, and then please help us to understand how you intend to solve it.
Absolutely. And what I'll do is I'll share some of these slides and some of the
Absolutely.
visuals, so that message gets clear.
Hmm.
But what I see, the biggest challenge that I see in today's world, in the health and safety world, is that uh, we have 100% visibility to accidents. So on in the work site, when accidents, as and when accidents happen, they get recorded, they get reported. So there's 100% visibility to all your minor and serious accident, of course, fatalities. But the numbers is staggering. I mean, in the most developed world, we're talking about our country, UK, Europe, USA, we have millions of accidents every year. We have thousands of fatalities. This is the data from UK, EU, and uh, the US, and staggering. What is missing is that none of the companies really understand how many near misses and how many unsafe acts happen all the time. And the data on that is about 1 to 3%. 1 to 3% of the near misses and 1 to 3% of non compliance and unsafe acts are recorded. And this is the biggest challenge. So, all the improvements in workplace safety typically tend to be reactive. So, when you have an accident, somebody would then get going and correct the processes or the things that led to the accident. What we are doing really is by using computer vision and artificial intelligence, improving the visibility of the near miss and non compliance and unsafe acts from 1 to 3% to 90 to 98%. Now, once you know where the problem is before the incident has happened, there is a huge opportunity for health and safety professionals to fix these issues.
Absolutely, because then you can make informed decisions about what you've seen, and then you can think about the best strategies to address the issues, right?
Absolutely. So, this is the biggest problem. The biggest challenge in health and safety is that uh, uh, you can only understand 1 to 3% of near misses and safe acts. So, if you're very experienced, then you would probably uh, go by your past experience and gut feel and put something in place to prevent those. That is not backed by hard data, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
and getting it right is always challenging. But if you had all the data uh, backing in terms of what is leading to non-compliance and near misses, uh, you will be addressing the problem and then fixing it before
Mm-hmm.
the accidents happen. So we're moving from a culture of uh, compliance uh, uh, to a culture of prevention. So a culture of reactive uh, uh,
To
to
proactive.
proactive. So big
Yeah.
shift. And to my mind, if you could reduce, just do that significantly. And in our past experience, whenever we deployed this technology
Mm-hmm.
last 5 6 years, we saw within a year 70 to 80% reduction in the near miss and non-compliance just by making the data available. And then if the health and safety professionals step in and
Mm-hmm.
they fix the underlying issue, which is either the process issue, the retraining issue, the awareness issue, then the benefits could be significantly more.
I totally agree with you on that, Subhash. In my experience as a health and safety in many companies and different type of industries, if you don't have the data and if you don't trust the data, it reduces your ability to create strategies and also to innovate and develop bespoke solutions for the challenges that you're facing, right? One of the main issues that I see in safety transformation, being digital or non-digital, is data readiness. If you ask like safety leaders in different industries what data they have available to drive their decision making process, some of them will still be talking about data not readily available, or the data is not trustworthy, and that reduces a lot the ability for making an impactful change in the workplace. So I think that your solution is really smart, and I think that if in today's world, if there's something that can improve our ability to have more eyes and digital eyes, we're talking about computer vision, then it's great. Think about, I'll give you one example. In my previous life in the oil and gas industry, we used to have three, sometimes four safety officers on board of a drilling ship. But we had to manage operations 24 hours a day, and also operations with hundreds of people on board, and there's not enough safety people to manage all of these situations. So if you can use technology to open your let's say world of possibilities, so you see more deviations as they occur, then it gives you more ability to drive the change, and to be really accurate on the things that you are implementing to manage workplace safety. I I love the idea of HawkVision and also what you want to address. I think it's a very important topic. But now I would like you to guide us through the technology behind these ideas. So how does it work in plain English so our audience can understand without being too technical, please?
Absolutely. Let me kind of just share a few more slides. And uh, what has happened over a number of years as we start to address this issue around safety, we see that uh, most of the enterprises, most of the companies in oil and gas, in construction, manufacturing, pretty much across the board, warehousing, logistics, they have cameras everywhere. So you've got CCTV cameras installed, and these cameras are looking at the areas where safety is a big concern. So they're kind of really recording and looking at those areas. What is happening is that they are a good source of information post the incident. So when an incident happens, typically the reaction is from the safety person is to go to the person who owns the cameras or IT person, get the recording, do the analysis. And what we're trying to do here is use these same cameras proactively uh, to get the feed and monitor it in real time. So instead of being reactive, we are proactive, and by doing so, focus on the near misses and non-compliance along with the incidents. So the way the system works is very simple. You already have cameras. Our system starts taking a feed from the existing cameras, starts to analyze them in real time for various things that you may want to check for, and I'll give you some examples on that. And then you start to take out the incidents which are interesting from a health and safety perspective. So all the non-compliance, the near misses, the incidents, and uh, there's an option uh, to get them in real time where they're critical. For example, a person down situation, or you can just log them into a database, analyze the data, and put them in the dashboard and see what is happening from a health and safety perspective in terms of compliance, in terms of near misses, in terms of incidents. Uh, so, what are we doing really? We're capturing all these events, and those events are typically all the rules that you would have in terms of the health and safety. So you would want to capture all the, for example, intrusion, falls, uh, person not wearing PPE, any collision, near miss, fire. You would then want to inform people where it is necessary. For example, if there was a fall, or if there was a person down, or if there was a fire, then you need to inform in real time through messaging or through alarm system or through an email. That could be done. You would then want to take a mitigative action, which is, can you turn off machinery? Can you get the first responders? Uh, but most of the cases where it's non-compliance and people not wearing, say, hard helmet, or people not following pathways to move around, what you want to do is take all the data, put it on a dashboard, and analyze and get to the root cause, and hopefully fix the root cause. And fixing the root cause would mean changing the process, retraining it, changing the environment, getting new equipment, and so on. The beautiful thing about this is, as Lucas, you said, is you have 2 or 3 health and safety people on a site, uh, but your site is vast. There are hundreds of people working. It's a big site. Uh, we can do all this in real time, 24 by 7, looking at all these events through all the cameras in real time. And doesn't matter what cameras you have, pretty much we can analyze all these cameras. Some examples here in terms of uh, the most common use cases, but there are hundreds of use cases around there from different industries and different sites. We can build custom use cases. We will build more use cases as we go on. But these are the use cases that we have ready, which we're already running. You can run multiple use cases on any camera. So basically, your cameras suddenly, from being a reactive recording tool, become very proactive. Uh, so this is how primarily the technology is working, if I've been able to give you a gist.
No, it was very clear. So basically, HawkVision is a combination of different types of technology currently available. We are talking about IoT sensors that the system can connect with. We're talking about artificial intelligence and the algorithms that you have built into the system to process these vast amounts of data with accuracy. And we are talking about computer visions, which encapsulates everything that makes it happen. It's a large amount of data coming through the workflow. I have a question for you, Subhash, which I believe you get all the time. How do you ensure that this data is securely processed and does not, let's say, bypass any, let's say, current regulations? For example, data protection regulation, when we're talking about you using cameras to film people working on sites. So, in other words, how do you ensure that your system works with high ethical standards?
That's a great question, Lucas. And let me kind of show you a few examples how it works in reality, and then uh, answer the questions around the data privacy, GDPR, uh, uh, and especially from in European culture, we don't like to be monitored, and
True.
especially how we use the technology in a manner that is acceptable at the ground, and also meets all the compliance standards. So,
Yeah.
so
So
let me.
before you start, I just would like to mention something else that we
Yeah,
discussed before. In some work environments, this type of technology, it can be seen as a big brother. You know, cameras filming and processing personal information
yeah,
24 hours a day, which is something that needs to be done carefully. Otherwise, it can become a problem for the company that is, wants to address one problem but creates another problem, right? So I will get to this point later, but it's, in my view, if you do not implement this type of technology with a strategy, including change management, risk management, and training, making sure that you are bringing together your staff from the top of the organization, your C-suite, and also the team working in the shop floor. Then there is a risk that people will not understand this, and it will be less successful. Am I right to think like this in terms of people perceiving this as potentially being like a big brother on site?
no, I think this point is uh, absolutely valid, and we get asked this all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, so the first thing that we ensure is that the product has to be respecting privacy. It has to be GDPR compliant. Uh, and the first thing that we do when we deploy our solution is we anonymize the data. So what we're not looking for who is not wearing a helmet. We're looking for how many times on the site people are not wearing helmet, how many times there is a near miss happening. We're not looking for did was it Joe who was not wearing the helmet, or was it X person who had a near miss. So the idea is not to look at individuals. Idea is to look at the workplace. So as a first rule, what we do is we anonymize the data. We will blur the faces. We will anonymize the person. So when we report the incident, the person is taken out of the picture, or especially we're not identifying the individual. So what we are doing is we are identifying the non-compliance, the risk, the near misses, uh, the incident, but not the person. Second is we analyze all the data at the site. We take the camera feed from the cameras. All the processing of that feed is done at the edge. So we're doing it at the customer site, or no video data is going out of the premises of the company that we work with. So all the data is being processed locally. Third thing is, as soon as we process the video data, we delete it. We don't keep a copy of it. We don't need to do that. We just take the all the uh, interesting areas around non-compliance and near misses and put them on the dashboard, and those are totally anonymized. Uh, so, in a sense, what we're doing is we're providing uh, a very clear instruction that we will not ever get into monitoring. So we're not monitoring person, we're monitoring, we are actually looking for incidents. So that is a big comfort, and we've seen that a lot of employees, workers on the ground actually welcome this idea. Uh, uh, but your point is very valid that there's always a concern. So, as a rule, for example, there's certain things which we will never do as a company, and one of those is face recognition or recognizing individual. We will never do that, even if the customer were to ask for it. So we're very clear in our approach because we want this to be a tool which will transform workplace safety. We don't want this to be a tool which could be used to monitor workers, and that's a big difference uh, from our
Absolutely.
perspective.
No, absolutely, and that's a relief to hear you saying that, because that was one of my concerns. And people offline asked me to bring this question to the podcast. So thanks for clarifying this. You mentioned about people being very positive to get this type of technology on site. Are you aware of, or have you done any research or a survey about, people willingness to be using this type of technology? I'm not talking about, market research. I'm more concerned about if you heard any positive or negative feedback from workers in general. What do they think about your tool?
Oh, I think we have seen a very positive reception. Uh, we've also come across a lot of concerns and uh, uh, and the fear that this could be misused uh, from workers' perspective. Uh, and once we explain how the technology works, for example, I went through all the details. And one of the other thing that we do is nobody is looking at the data outside the company, and they authorize people to do it. So this is even the non-compliance and near miss data can only be viewed by the company officials who are authorized to do so, which means the health and safety people. So we have put in place all the, uh, I would say, things in that address the uh, issue around privacy, the issue
Hmm.
around GDPR at the forefront of the product. This is not a something that we it's being reactive with our experience and learnings
Hmm.
and hearing those concerns. What we have done is upfront in the product we've addressed those features so that we ensure that this can never be used to monitor. It will always be used to improve workplace safety. Once the people understand it, uh, it's been the reception has been great.
Well, it's that's what really matters, to ensure that during the not the implementation itself, but even when you're thinking about bringing on board some sort of technology, it's important to listen to people, right? Because what I believe you have built is a human centric tool that augments our capacity for predicting and analyzing data to prevent incidents and serious injuries and fatalities, which is great. I know you have a few videos, Subhash, that you can show us. I'm pretty sure that the audience is very keen to see it working. So can you share some videos or give us a quick demonstration about HawkVision AI?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to show you in terms of how, from a layman's perspective, how does the technology work, and, and let me just give you some examples of a couple of use cases that I have. Uh, and this is one of the most common example of near misses that I've come across in my experience working in various industries, manufacturing, of course, logistics. Uh, uh, we are shipping so much goods these days, and especially with uh, Amazon or real-time delivery from warehouses, from factories to warehouses, and warehouses to now directly to homes. The number of forklift incidents has grown, and you can see how our technology works. So basically, we identify a person, we identify a forklift, and when somebody gets very close to the forklift, that is a near miss, and that could be again very much rule based. So you could have a rule say if nobody's allowed to be within a meter or 2 meters of the forklift, and when that incident happens, we can capture those
So before you
and
go
put them in
ahead,
dashboard.
I
Yeah,
just have a question about this. We mentioned about IoT before. Can you
yeah.
integrate HawkVision AI with sensors in the forklift itself? So as the forklift is, let's say, approaching a person, it slows down or it can eventually stop. Is it something that you can have at the moment, or if not, which is okay? Are you thinking about this type of, let's say, alarm and shutdown, emergency shutdown procedures?
I think this is a very, very uh, good point. Uh, yes, the short answer is yes. The forklifts of today's world are not designed. So what we are doing is, if you when I explain how the system works, is we have a mitigation strategy. So can we stop an accident from happening? The answer is yes. Can we shut down machines? Can we shut down forklift? Can we slow down the forklift? The answer is yes. So in some cases, we already have that ability to integrate with the machines, which have the ability to take message from our system because we work real time, and we can shut down the machinery when somebody gets too close to a moving machinery. We're currently working on the forklift challenge, which is because all the forklifts are the old technology, and we're trying to integrate in terms of how we can slow them down or even shut them down when somebody gets very close and accident is about to happen, and we can prevent that. So this is something which we already do in some cases. In specific forklift case, we're working on that, and we're hoping to get that out sometimes towards end of this year or early next year.
Very, very good. Thanks for explaining this. So, what else do you have to show us?
A couple of more examples very quickly. I'll just walk you through. So detecting fire, for example, uh,
Wow.
and again, um, the way our system works is because we are doing all the processing at the edge, at the factory, we can identify fire or near miss in a fraction of a second. So in 1/10 of a second, we can identify, and then not only identify, we can then inform.
This can be life saving in many industries, right?
Absolutely. So a typical, we're not replacing a fire safety system here,
Hmm.
but a fire safety system takes sometimes few seconds and minutes to react because based on detecting uh, smoke and carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, whereas because our system is very visual, we can it's instant. The moment you see the flame is the moment you get the alarm. So very, very and you get the image in terms of when we report it, so you actually can
It
validate.
helps for the investigation afterwards. Once the scene is made safe, you then have the video, so it helps to understand how the fire started. But I think that the main use case here is really to accelerate the alarm to be sounded so people can evacuate the building, and the fire marshals and the fire brigades can be more efficient, right?
Yeah, our system has the capability to actually inform the first responders and the fire brigade in real time. So
Hmm.
within a tenth of a second, the message would go out to the first responders with an image that we suspect there is a fire here. This is the image. This is the location. This is the timestamp. So
Okay.
all the details sent within 1/10 of a second. So that is the beauty of the system, that it can get this out, identify and inform um, uh, in 1/10 of a second.
Hmm.
A couple of quick use cases. So detecting helmet, vest, of course the forklift near miss, uh, detecting falls and slips, also person down. So uh, and again taking a mitigation action. So imagine a situation when there's a lone worker, and the lone worker fell down, was on the ground, and typically he would be discovered whenever a new shift happened or somebody happened to stumble on that person. In this case, if a camera was looking at that person, We can identify the fall, we can identify the person down situation, we can raise the alarm, send it to the first responders, all within 1/10 of a second.
I have a question about this. If you go back to one slide, please, you mentioned
Yeah.
about PPE. I don't want to focus too much on PPE because PPE is the least effective measure to prevent injuries in the workplace. But can you customize the system? So, for example, in workplace A, your minimum PPE requirements is, let's say, hard hats, high vis, and let's say safety shoes.
Yeah.
In other workplaces you may have like more stricter requirements. Can you customize the how the system sees things and provides the data afterwards?
Oh, absolutely. So let me just jump um, through these use cases and get to uh, 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 the technology behind it. So the way is we do it is it's all configurable. You can configure what you want. So what? So in case of PPE, what PPE, and not only what PPE in which area. For example, the camera could be looking at a much larger area, and you want to only monitor a particular area, or you could have different rules within that camera frame for different areas, and all that you can configure. So, for example, in one area you may want to look for hard hat and the overhauls. In the other areas, may be very stringent. You may want to also check for safety glasses and so on. So again, depending on and different use cases in different areas, and certain areas are okay, certain areas are not okay for certain rules, and all this can be configured. Uh, so very much uh, rules based, and something that we can train the health and safety people to configure the tool when deploying it, and we can configure when we deploy it the first time around.
Hmm. Hmm. So the system can really follow what's in place in terms of policies, right? Which is great. um, I the way I see a system like this working is that it needs to be user friendly and easy to operate and to customize. Have you thought about this in order to having people and especially safety professionals embracing the change? It has to be simple. It has to build bridges and not barriers, and otherwise sometimes what is like a shiny system simply doesn't work because the adoption is not simply there. So how are you addressing this point about creating a simple and easy and simple to operate system?
So the way we go about deploying our solution at any site is we start with the safety professional. What is that they need? What is they? So again, we can have hundreds of use cases, but what is really relevant is what is important for that company, that site, uh, and we focus on the problem areas. Uh, our The second thing which is very critical for us is to get the accuracy. So it's not only that we can identify, but we can identify these incidents with very high level of accuracy. Because the last thing you want to do is send or capture many events and they are not captured correctly, so the people lose faith in the system. So for us, having a significant accuracy, being able to capture a significant percentage of incidents is very, very important. But again, all this we are doing it is keeping the problem statement in mind, keeping the end user in mind. So it's very much driven by the uh, health and safety professionals. Uh, it is not a plug and play system, so you can't just take the system and start using it instantly. We will configure the system, uh, sit with the health and safety professionals, take their requirements, understand them, retrain our models to work the way they're required to work in that site, and then deploy them. So we go through an exhaustive process, uh, wherein the end result basically is the value that they're getting. And we're not replacing health and safety professionals. So essentially, what we're doing is we're giving them the data points. That is our key objective. Our objective is to give them the data points which will lead them to uh, identify the root causes,
Mm-hmm.
what is leading, because the problem is not that John was not wearing helmet. The problem is that there are a lot of people not wearing the helmet and therefore increasing the risk uh, and severe, especially for severe incidents. So what if something fell on somebody? And the idea is that if we can provide all the data around people not wearing helmets, will lead to understanding why is that happening. And when that why is addressed, which is where the health and safety people come in, is they can look at the data and say, oh, we got these many incidents in this location at this time, and probably get to the reason, fix the reason. It's a big transformation in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what excites me about these products is the transformation. And the transformation is really a journey. And the fact that you really go through a process to understand what the problem is provides confidence that it can be successful. Having technology just for the sake of having technology is not helpful. In some cases, not having technology involved is even better, which is which something that I always try to provide this type of overview before helping my clients to jump into the new technology trends. We're going to talk about trends in a second, Subhash. But I saw during your presentation a few industrial places like warehouses, and I would like to know if is there any sector or any type of industry where your technology is more impactful, or you build the technology around like a, let's say, a generic framework.
So I would say any workplace or any sector or any industry where the uh, number of incidents or the high risk industries, our solution or solution like ours has to be there. So we're talking about manufacturing, we're talking about oil and gas, construction, warehousing, across the industries, because the problems are each, there are specific challenges in each industry, but the problems are very similar. The challenges in across the industry that we don't have all this non-compliance and near miss data. Uh, and what we're doing is addressing that first. And the second is, which we're also working on, the point you made about is, can we do real-time intervention, which we already do. For example, if there was a person down, can we make an intervention and make a difference in real time? Is there a fire? If there is a fire, can we intervene? And same thing, if there was somebody coming very close to a forklift, can we stop the forklift? Can we stop the machinery? So, but the primary value of our system is you don't have data today around all the non-compliance, and you know for a fact they're happening all the time. And the biggest challenge for a health and safety person is, uh, I wish I could have this data, because if I had this data, then I would fix it before the incident happened, and we are just being the enabler for that. So that is the reason why, uh, from the end user perspective, they would love having a technology that really is enabling them effectively to be able to do their job.
Absolutely. So, well, it's great to see that your system is industry agnostic, which answers my first question. And also, now you mentioned about how the system can support safety culture to be enhanced, to be, let's say, to stick to the overall organizational culture. I don't like to split organizational culture from safety culture. In my view, it's the same thing. And in my view, also, it's important to start using these type of technologies to augment the human capacity and our abilities as workplace safety managers to be more proactive, to use these powerful leading indicators to drive a positive change. And now I would like to talk a little bit about, safety trends,
Mhm.
things that are happening nowadays, and we hear all the time about AI this, AI that. So, in your view, it's clear that safety is going to change in light of the new technologies, right? So, between now and let's say 5 years, I think that before that we're going to see significant change in places. But What are the most significant type of like changes that you are predicting, Subhash?
So if you look at enterprises, and specifically if you look at health and safety, the adoption of technology has been slow. Uh,
Correct.
and there are good reasons because you can have a best, and we work with a lot of health and safety software systems, companies like Gen Suite, Benchmark, uh, companies like Intellex. And what we are seeing is it's great to have those software, but the challenge is having the data. Uh, and uh, the benefits that those products can provide is very limited because there's a lack of data. Now, what technology is really enabling in our like in our case, for example, is enabling to capture all this data very accurately and feed that into those systems. So then suddenly they can be very valuable. So what I see is significant adoption of technology with artificial intelligence and computer vision coming in. We now have the ability, which did not exist 5 years ago. In five years ago, we could not do the kind of things that we can do today. And now,
It's a good point. Sorry to interrupt you. I think that's 5 years ago, as you mentioned, the technology has clearly evolved, but there was, AI is not something new, right? It was known as machine learning for decades. What changed now is the accessibility of this type of powerful technologies available for us at reasonable costs. So,
yes,
for example, you can use ChatGPT. You can use other sorts of types of generative AI models, and it's all available for everyone. So I don't see another way that safety is going to evolve without embracing this type of technologies going forward. So in my view, there is no option A and option B. If you really want to drive positive workplace safety, you need to understand the importance of the uptake of new technologies, or otherwise we are not going to address the main goal that we started this conversation, which is reducing dramatically the number of workplaces fatalities and severe injuries that happens every day. As we speak, someone unfortunately has died in some place in the world because of a workplace injury. And for me, that's unacceptable. And now that we can use technology, in my view, it's a must that we find a way to bring it let's say to the package, so people can have more tools and improve their abilities to control and to manage and to mitigate those risks. That's my take on technology, Subhash.
absolutely. And that's the big change. So the technology not only has become viable from a cost perspective,
Uh-huh.
because we've seen faster processors getting cheaper and better AI models, again, the cost of that coming down. Today, the cost of monitoring one critical camera at a site is less than cost of coffee per day. So it's not only become viable; it's actually quite cheap to do that. The
Mm-hmm.
cost of doing collecting data and monitoring is actually a fraction of what it would be if you were to do it manually or
Mm-hmm.
in any other form. So not only it's viable, is actually there is a very good business case to actually have this technology deployed. It's not an expense. It's not a luxury. It
Yeah.
is actually there is a high ROI involved when you adopt this. So
True.
right now, I think there's a very compelling reason to deploy this technology. And what I predict is that in 5 years, all the sites that already have cameras,
They will be using
they will be
a
using
similar
this
system.
technology.
I agree with you. And you mentioned about ROI. Can you name a few types of return on investment by taking your products on board? You can mention about, we discussed it about reducing instance and improving the ability up to 80 to 90% of reducing instance in the workplace. But what else in terms of return on investment? So if a safety leader is watching us right now, so what can you tell them? So it's like a no-brainer for them to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. So the first thing that we do is we we free up the health and safety people to focus on the analysis of data and taking preventive actions and transforming their processes and rules and so on to make a difference. So today, as you said, most of the time, and health and safety people are auditing the site, looking for incidents which they can then use to improve stuff. Uh, Imagine all that is now time is being used to transform as opposed to record. And even if they were to do this, they would only be able to capture a fraction of incidents, uh, uh, whereas they can get 95% of the incidents. So that is the first thing we do. So uh, getting their time, making them valuable, and getting much higher ROI just by using their time wisely. The second is we actually prevent incidents from happening, and each incident is costing. In the first slide that I showed you, significant amount, billions of dollars to the industry in every country. So there's a significant monetary saving, but more than that is is uh, is the making a workplace safe, preventing incidents, which is priceless. Uh, uh,
That's exactly what I was about to say. We cannot put a price tag on someone's life.
yeah,
It's priceless. So if you can avoid a single injury every day, it's already worth it. And using technology like this really is a game changing in my view. So the number of examples, if you are still unsure if there is a clear ROI for using computer vision and AI, IoT, and other novel technologies, for me is undeniable. So we came to a point in the talk, and I would like to thank you a lot for being available today. It's been a great talk. I hope the audience is enjoying the conversation as well. But let's have like a rapid fire questions, right? Something that I always like to do in the end. So tell us a book that has shaped your thinking about AI and safety.
yeah. So last uh, 5 6 years is the time I've been working in this area in the workplace safety, and I've been very inspired by uh, the 5 principles of human performance by Dr. Todd, and I would highly recommend that book to uh, everybody, especially in the safety arena. And that's really inspired me. And we pretty much are following the principles in that book in terms of addressing the root cause as opposed to being reactive uh, and looking for individual
Fantastic.
improvements.
I haven't read this one, but I am taking notes here, and it's going to be my uh, next read for sure. And thanks for telling us about your insights whilst reading this book. Um, Please tell us a myth about AI and safety that you wish people could understand better.
Yeah, so there are a lot of myths, but one thing which I've come across is that uh, if there has been no accident at my workplace, then all my processes are working, and uh, it's very common. But the reality is that uh, uh, accidents are waiting to happen, and as you said, we need to address the leading indicators because what you see is uh, the end result, but the accidents don't happen out of blue.
Hmm.
Uh, there is underlying reasons, so you need to start looking the at the leading indicators as opposed to the final results.
Cool.
Uh, so that myth uh, is a myth, and uh, no matter how many days you've had without an accident, there is a lot still you need to do to ensure that your workplace continues to be safe.
All right. Very good. Thanks for bringing that up. Can you share a piece of advice for safety professionals in the digital age?
Yeah. So one myth, and again, this could be a myth, but a lot of people think that just using technology is going to solve the problem. And I'm a big, obviously, uh, supporter of technology because I'm
Mhm.
in that business. And it is very essential to embrace technology. But I think the culture has to be human centric. So
True.
so we have to, and we as a technology company also encourage that that the culture has to be human centric. Technology is an enabler. We have to embrace technology, but not losing the focus on the human centric culture.
Very good. Very good. Very well said. And Subhash, if people want to follow your journey or get in touch with you, how can they do it?
The best way is to reach out to us, or to me, or to our company directly through LinkedIn. They can reach out to our website, HawkVision.ai. Um, we're happy to talk to people, answer their questions, but I'm on LinkedIn, very easily accessible.
That's
They can.
true. You answered mine. And
Yep.
as much the final one, what's next for Hawk Vision in the next let's say in the next couple of months?
So we have, as you said, we have a product out. We have the first set of customers where we are starting to deploy this technology. We're going to take this technology across the US, Europe, especially focused more in UK because we're headquartered and based out of UK. Uh, uh, so next 2 months are exciting for us. And then I did talk about how do we take it to and add more features down the line. Lucas, you've gone on mute.
Sorry, thank you. So my next special guest in a couple of weeks is going to be Prahlad. He's the founder of CEO of SafeVR, a company that is building an amazing virtual reality tool to enhance, training in the workplace. So our topic will be proactive safety and predictive insights powered by AI, and I'm very happy to have this team in the show because I am an advisor for the company. I am in the board of directors of the company, so I know what they are building. So I'm very excited that they are going to be in the show to explain more about their technology. So you cannot miss this one. I haven't put a date yet because May is still a bit busy, but as soon as I have a date, I will share on my LinkedIn. And the final thing I would like to share on my website, www.getshield360.com, there is a safety 4.0 readiness scorecard. So if you're a safety professional, if you're watching this podcast right now, please scan the QR codes and give it a try and see where you stand in the digital transformation. And then, of course, if you want to connect and have a chat with me, I'm more than happy to book a meeting and discuss your needs. Having said that, I'm checking here on the chat. There are no questions, so I will understand that the presentation, the chat was very clear. I just would like to thank you again, Subhash. It's been an amazing chat. Thanks for being available. All the best for you and also for HawkVision AI. In my view, it's a game-changing tool, and I hope we keep in touch so I can still bring you in the show in the future as you launch the tool to the wide to the market. Any final considerations, Subhash?
Well, thank you for having me, Lucas, and I look forward to uh, engaging with you, working with you. Happy to answer any questions from anybody who happens to come across this podcast. Uh, Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And I hope to see you in the next episodes of Safety Beyond Compliance. Stay safe.